Hey everyone, welcome to Journey of a Healed Success Stepper, video number 12. This was a specific number that I wanted to tap into for this particular video topic. And I want to share specifically about my criminal case. And I want to talk to those success steppers on how to assume the role after you have been played by the enemy on a game of life. Okay, so welcome. Thank you so much for being here. Today I want to talk about emotional healing solution number 3. We're going to get into that. We're going to talk about what an ego killer is. Okay, unless you kill your ego, anyone else tries to harm you or hurt you in the essence of, quote, killing an ego, they're a murderer. And they now have been sentenced to life. Okay? Several lives, several lifetimes. So let's get right into the topic here. Okay. What is an ego killer? I was told that the ego killer. How you gonna kill somebody's ego and you ain't even got your life together? That's your goal. That's what you were here to do. Well, I'm here to let you know that when you talk about emotional healing solutions, you're going to be able to call emotional security on their ass. Even if you know what happened, even if you know who laced you, even if you know the cults by name, one by one, if God has discerned that to you, emotional security has them because you're in your divine legacy right now. They don't like it. They can't do anything about it. So congratulations. So emotional healing solution number 3, we faced our reality to the situation at hand without judgment. We faced the reality of our situation without judgment. We are not to be harsh upon ourselves when we realize that we have been played, manipulated, and bamboozled by something that the enemy used as a game piece to the success stepper, not knowing that we were even stepping into success. We were just moving from the low vibrational frequency to the higher realms of who we are today. And in that, we realized that we had to face our reality of the situation. When we recognized what it was, when we saw it for what it was, without judgment, we could not judge ourselves. We could not beat ourselves up. Okay? We had to surround ourselves with individuals of like minds. We had to empower ourselves to make sure that we were able to understand what was taking place. Now, let me share this with you, okay? When someone tells you that they're an ego killer, that is a real harsh statement to someone who has survived a lacing, okay? So basically, when the enemy tells you who they are, you need to believe them. Now, according to Google, an ego killer refers to anything that challenges an individual's excessive pride or inflated sense of self-importance or a stubborn refusal to learn, ultimately leading to a loss of this egoist perspective. So if someone looks at you as an egoic person, what are they doing with their own lives? How are they maturing and working to become their better version? If they're so busy studying every move you make, even the low vibrational basic individual who's trying to come up to that awakened being. And I do recall someone saying, yo, get over here, man. She about to wake up. She's about to wake up. What does that mean? Blow your trumpets? sound the alarms. This is an easy way to get someone to become basic again. So are you the bully police? Are you the bully police that prevents people from their divine legacy? But when you are faced with this reality of this situation, you cannot think judgmental, because your divine legacy is on the line. When you talk about killing an ego, you talk about a person who is influencing another person to stay basic, to not elevate, to put challenges so deep into their realm of walking, talking, thinking, until that person loses their individuality, loses their sense of self-worth. And according to the one, let me see. There was something. It refers to, now listen to this. AI says it refers to something such as psychedelic drugs, like my lacing, like what I was induced with. Spiritual practices, especially that dark magic. Remember, we talked about magicians not really being magical. They just have the concepts of deep, dark, depressed devastation, or even a traumatic experience, like in my case. Yo, she's waking up, man. Come get her. Come get her. But God said, I'm going to let them come get you. And you still going to come out victorious. You're still going to come out on top. But you're going to go through something. Okay? And the ego killer looks at this traumatic experience and tries to make it essential for their benefit. The ego killer turned around. Now listen, this ego death is a phenomenon called ego death, which is a temporary or permanent loss of one's sense of self or individuality. How many people do you know walk around here who were on this basic low vibrational frequency, did not know who they were, was growing into their better selves, were looking good, smelling good, talking good, very intellectual, and then the next time you saw them on the news all messed up? Now they're caught up in a situation. They're in a brawl at a restaurant, you know, doing God knows what, under the influence of God knows what. But guess what? This death results in a feeling of unity with others in the universe, a transcendence of the separate self, and the dissolution of the ego's concern with personal identity, desires, and social status. So in this context, the ego is not just about arrogance, but a fundamental construct of the mind that creates a sense of self. So if somebody does not like how you are living your life, these forces, narcissistic bullies, want to keep you so basic. How dare you go beyond their scope of ability? How dare you go beyond what they were able to comprehend in life? So they're going to play the game, do a lot of research, make you look and feel like, you know, they're on to something. They're making a little bit of sense. And they don't know nothing. All they know is plot, destruction, and chaos. A breakdown of the individual who is trying to rise above the occasion, who knows who they are as far as who they're growing to be, know where they're going, know the path that they're on, but they got distracted in some way and got knocked down to the basics. What is above is also below. So if you didn't make it up to the top yet, the spiritual elevation of the high spirit self, the awakened being, the healed soul will never know this until you get that understanding after the healing. So when the memory returns, when the psychedelic drugs that was implanted to destroy the mindset and make you temporarily or permanently disassociated from your personal goal of self, that's when you sit back and you say, damn, they did it like that? Okay, how does ego death occurs? Through psychedelic experiences. Substances like LSD and psilocybin are well known for triggering ego dissolution. And that's what happened in my case. There's more. If you want to go on, you can Google ego killer and all this will show up. There are spiritual practices that really informs another person about who they are in the spiritual realm. And you can practice it, and it can also bring about an ego death. That's a natural way of doing it without the substance, to push someone into an illusion of whatever you want them to know. Who made you God? Who made you their God? Who allowed you? Who gave you permission? That's why you're a murderer. You are a murderer in the sense of what could have happened to that individual. By being altered by your desecration of spiritual trust. You took advantage of spiritual trust. And you created a devastation in a person's life who was not going down that path. And don't forget, swapping of lives happened right here. And during this time, while you're working on your divine legacy, they're destroying it and getting compensated for the dirt that they're doing. And they're swapping your life for theirs. But here's the catch. You go away. You go to an institution. You go to a mental hospital. You go to jail. You do whatever you got to do. You come back a person who has no divinity, who has no structure of self, who has no belief in higher spiritual modality. You meet them and they're still in the same exact place that they were before the incident occurred. Yeah. I'm going to keep going regardless of what my throat chakra is doing right now. Because I know this is all exposing the ego, the enemy's trap to the egoic game. Now, on the spiritual end, what happens is the Most High comes through and says, okay, I already know what this ego killer tried to do. He is a murderer. She is a murderer. So she'll deal with that. He'll deal with that. But because you were able to awaken, and then you got your health, your mind, body, and spirit back together again, because most people will still not be able to make it above this level, right? In this context, because you were enlightened by the Most High and you listened to the voice of the Most High. Now, mind you, you had to break free from the voices of the lower vibrational spiritual weapons of mass destruction related to your life. You had to know the difference between those voices and the voices of the spiritual essence of God. The God source that told you you're going to go through this. Yeah, we're going to put you on local news. Yeah, you're going to have a mug shot. Yeah, you're going to go through all of this. And let's see if you still, like the story of Job, let's see if she will still say that she's going to be on the right side of the Most High. Or if she's going to trickle down to the basic bare minimum, be embarrassed of her life, be embarrassed by, whatever circumstances that took place in her life, maybe be compelled by the lower vibrational narcissists and bullies that control the basic levels of her rising to the occasion, and then Allow her the 6 months, then she'll owe us for the rest of her life. Wow. That's the ego. That's the ego's death after the funeral. Most people are still sitting at the funeral, waiting for the body to be, put in the ground. But there is nobody there because you're still here. You're maintaining your divine legacy. You went above the glass ceiling and you made it through that loophole and you counterattacked what the enemy had for you. Congratulations. And it's not a good feeling when you turn around and you awaken and you heal. And then you find out that all this stuff happened. You got to focus on the reality of the situation without judgment. You cannot be upset at the person who did this because regardless of what, you made it to the very top. Regardless if they were there, their job was to oblige the enemy attack to keep you low vibrational to the point where you would never make it to the high vibrational awareness of who you are. So in this spiritual practice, traumatic events happen. Near-death experience. My criminal case was a vibrational near-death experience. You might as well say that I literally died in that restaurant trying to fight for my life for a substance that was unknown and foreign to my body, involuntarily ingested, thinking that that was the end of life for me. Near-death experience, right? This is where psychologists and psychiatrists look at you as having mental illness. So now you're out of touch with reality at this point. But see, I went outside of reality because I was forced outside of reality. But while as an observer to knowing that I was going to be up in the areas of the solution, up in the area of healing, up in the area of awakening, I was able to just watch it like a movie screen. I saw the movie. The only difference is the revelation was for me to fill in. See, the physical could only give you the physical narrative. Okay, what I did. Convicted felon. Circumstance, event. But the spirit was watching it all go down as I was healing from the psychotropic drugs that was induced within me, trying to make sense of everything while also trying to just know my name. People were calling me and I'm like, who is that? The criminal justice system doesn't tell you that when you look up State of Ohio versus Dorina Shine. What the state of Ohio recognizes is just the basic. The connector to the collaborator of who they wanted me to be. But this near-death experience created a loss of self. The self that was connected to the addiction. Because I didn't know that person. I only knew the educated, successful, focus-driven. And I remember people telling me, wow, you got a sharp imagination. You got a sharp, photogenic memory. I remember them saying that to me. And I'm like, well, how do they know? Because they were watching. Mrs. Edwards. The individual experiences a profound sense of disappearing or merging with the universe, losing the feeling of being a separate entity. That is the course of what they say when rigor mortis starts to set in down here in the physical. Scarface said it. If you've ever heard the song, I never seen a man cry till I seen a man die. Go back and listen to that song. Rigor mortis is starting to set in, but something is happening because the God source within you is saying, no, this is not it. Your blood pressure could be at 400 on the Richter scale. Okay. And something can happen to where you just heal yourself immediately in the spirit realm. And what is in the spirit is also below. And so what takes place is there's a transcendence, a powerful feeling of unity with everything and everyone, and a sense of interconnectedness. At that point is when God says, your journey is complete on that physical realm of that scenario, that event. You're awakened now. Are you willing to stay with me, or do you want to go back down to hell? Do you want to go back to the physical realm as far as putting yourself in a position of the addictive behavior, the depression that caught you up in the cycle and headspin of a traumatic event that incarcerated you? Do you want to go back there? Because you can get 32 years for what you've done, or you can remain wholehearted. You can remain steadfast, and you can get the healing you need in order to have the solutions, in order to go back down, okay, in a physical form, become physical. You know that scripture, give me a body, Father, so I can go down and save the world. But I'm not coming to save the world. I came to save myself. And Jesus even says, you will have to bear your own cross. No one's coming to save you. But God will have a communication with you. God will give you the needed essentials that you need in order to vibe with him. There's a disidentification. But how about we don't disidentify? How about we 100% unauthentically? No. 100% unequivocally go ahead and identify with who we are. Yeah, I'm Dorina Shine. Now Dr. Dorina Shine. From all of this experience, absolutely. Let me go back and tell what happened and use myself as a case study. Whether you see me as a doctor or not, it has nothing to do with me. I know my credentials. I don't have to lie to you, especially after having gone through all this. Freedom. By releasing attachment to the ego, one can become free from suffering, anxiety, and the constant need for external validation. Now, you can look at that as a positive if that's the end of the cycle of life. That sounds to me like the end of the physical life as we know it. But if you face the reality of the situation without judgment, you will be able to find your divine legacy within the emotional healing that helps you solve addiction, depression, anxiety, abuse, and all of the other 7 deadly sins, if not more, that you will find on this planet to make you a strong success stepper in this physical realm where you have nothing but heaven on earth. But you got to go through the cycles in order to get there. Many people are not willing to awaken. Every one of us, believe it or not, go through the cycle of the situation. There's an event that has happened in your life that has made you become a different person than what you remember yourself being. No one has ever come to the face of the planet and stayed that way till the day they died. So with that, if you don't stand up and get some fight behind your back and let the wind hit you, ain't that what Tupac said in Juice? To Rodimus, he's like, I'm not afraid. That's ego, physical. But when you talk about not being afraid after you have healed, that's a whole nother scenario. The enemy don't even know how to even understand that language. That's another foreign language to them. So I want you to think about this as you go through your scenarios, because believe me, some people are still sitting at the front row of that funeral, waiting for the body to show up to the casket. They're just sitting there waiting because they knew it was going to happen. They knew it was going to show up one day. But God said, not today. God said, I'm going to take you through this and you're going to have a major breakthrough. You're going to have a sufficient breakthrough. And that breakthrough is going to lead you to your healing to create the success stepper you are becoming. And you know, it's a very eye-opening situation when you find out. Imagine you finding out that, you know, your uncle, your brother, your cousin, your niece, your nephew, your child, your significant loved one, your best friend was the one that literally obliged the enemy to come in and physically attack you like that. And then you woke up, and when you woke up, you healed, and now you know. That's my message for today. I hope this resonates with somebody. It touches somebody's life, whether in your circumstance or someone you know. Because when you awaken to the new improved version of yourself, you're going to have to sit back and make the decision how you're going to handle that information. Some people said, I saw someone on TikTok said, I'm just done. I don't want to know no more. It's too much. It's too much to know because people take advantage of those people who are vulnerable. And we don't even know we're vulnerable until after we start to go through the process, the ego death. But I still, you know, one thing about me is I remember I killed my own ego. I did it. No one else. But the illusion of what man can tell you that they have the power to possess in your world to do for you. Yeah, that enemy is going to tell you all the stuff. It's me. I'm bigger and better than you. Because if you feel that, you'll never gain that sense of reciprocity of respect from your lower vibrational self to your higher frequency. You will always believe that the power was gained from someone else and not yourself. So thank you. This is my video 12. It's the process of how the ego killer does what he does. And with that, I thank you so much for being here with me, rocking with your girl. I hope this has enlightened you, and we'll see you next time.